Now, how would we know if a company is CSR 2.0 rather than 1.0? There are 5 principles which I'm going to take you through with examples. Creativity, scalability, responsiveness, locality, and circularity. Let's see what we mean by these. Creativity, of course, can mean what we might think of as traditional innovation, investment in R&D, in emerging technologies. So here's the example of Warren Buffett investing in BYD, which I'm sure you probably know is the Chinese company that manufactures now electric cars. And the founder of that company in 2006 and in the last few years has become one of the richest men in the world. And his whole company is around now renewable energy. Started out with batteries and now is very much investing in this area. So some of it is investing in the right industries, sunrise technologies, green technologies. Some of it is also investing in social enterprises. Now, I don't know how many people have been to this restaurant in Bangkok, in Thailand. If you haven't, I recommend next time you're there, you go and visit. I should warn you, it's in the red light district, so don't take your parents, as I did, without explaining to them. And there's a reason for that. It's because the whole restaurant is designed to bring a social message of education to the population around issues of family planning, HIV and AIDS, and reproductive health. And in fact, the whole restaurant is decorated with condoms and with fertility pills. And so it's very creative, very strange, bizarre, but actually very effective. Thailand is one of the countries in the world that's seen fertility rates come down hugely over the last few decades. And the founder of this restaurant actually runs a much bigger organization that is about educating the Thai population about issues of family planning and HIV and AIDS. And so sometimes we can use business to educate and to create social change. Another example, this is Anurag Gupta. He runs a company called A Little World in India. And what he decided to do was to create a micro-banking system in India. And what you see there is a biometric scanner. And the way that it works is that a single individual, usually a woman, in an Indian village, becomes a bank branch. And she sits in her home, and the poor people, low-income villagers come to her. They don't need to have identity documents. They don't need to be able to read or write. All they have to do is speak into a mobile phone. It records their voice. Use this little biometric scanner to record their fingerprints. And within 2 days, they have a basic bank account created. The phone stores 50,000 customer records for 5 years. And so what he's done is he's created a banking system and given access to many millions of Indians who never had access before. So sometimes we can combine the high technology with the social purpose. This is creativity, and unfortunately, as much as I would love to believe that ISO 26000 has the potential for creativity, many of the standards that we see, ISO standards and other CSR standards, do not have a good track record for creating an innovative approach. They tend to make companies into a sort of an audit and a tick box mentality. The second principle then is scalability, and this is probably one where we've failed the most severely on CSR. Let's take the example of Walmart. Before Hurricane Katrina, Walmart was the company that everyone loved to hate, especially if you were working in CSR. Very bad track record. And what happened was the CEO of Walmart during Hurricane Katrina saw the potential of the company to do good in the community. His employees opened the doors of their shops in Louisiana people just took the products they needed. And instead of firing those employees, he said, how can we be the company that we were during Hurricane Katrina every single day? And he began their sustainability reform program. And very crucially, what he did differently, he set 3 very bold targets, goals. One of which was 100% renewable energy. The second of which was 0 waste. And the third of which was all their products in future will be sustainable and responsible. How did he start to create this change? Well, one of the things he did was to say all their fish products will be certified as sustainable using the Marine Stewardship Council label. This is a crucial difference. He didn't say we're going to offer customers the choice to either buy sustainable fish or unsustainable fish. And this is something we call choice editing. And it's one of the only ways we're going to get the scale that we need in the market of these sustainable products and services. Another example is Sainsbury's. Here on bananas, they decided not to offer fair trade bananas as a choice to customers, but to say, as part of their CSR commitment, all the bananas that they sell will be fair trade. Now, Iceland is another retailer, and we can learn something from them. They decided, when genetically modified organisms were starting to be introduced into foods, that they would take a position to say no GMOs in our food. And the customers loved them for taking that strong stand, and their profits went up. So then they decided the next step was to make all of their products organic and to charge customers more for that. And what do you think happened? They nearly went bankrupt. So you have to be very careful. We're talking about radical changes here, which we really need, but you also need to educate the customers to be ready, and it can't always be at a premium.